I feel like it's important to talk about crypto investments that may or may not be good investments for the upcoming year. And today I'm going to be reviewing Chia, or XCH as its coin ticker symbol stands for. Right, so what is Chia? Well, take it from a simple Google search. What is Chia? And you can type in XCH, their trading ticker. It says Chia Network is a layer 1 blockchain that uses its own custom designed programming language called Chia Lisp and a novel consensus mechanism called proof of space and time. POST, basically. And what is proof of space? Proof of space is like the hardware that they use, and then the time would be basically the time that the hardware stays, part of the blockchain. So you are being rewarded for both having the space and then also being part of the blockchain, like the hardware being part of the blockchain. And in April, May, I was genuinely considering investing into this project, but my gut instinct told me that although hardware mining is a really good concept, it may or may not be with Chia, because there are like different forks you can mine, and then also there are also competitors like Filecoin, and then something called SC Prime, which I will actually do a review on very soon. But the fact that there are competitors to this thing doesn't necessarily make Chia the prime candidate for our hardware mining. And so today I wanted to kind of do a deep dive into data that is relevant to today. So if you were to start mining Chia today, this is what you're going to find. Let's dive straight into calculating how much hardware you need for your project. And I'll show you the figure that I went with, and I'll explain why I went with it. As you can see here, like on this website called chiacalculator.com, I'll have the URLs for the most important sites down in the description below, by the way. Plots are basically each of the spaces that you will have to find a solution for the blockchain problem. That's like sort of those are like the simplest terms I can explain it to someone who probably doesn't know anything about blockchain. Let's assume you don't know anything about blockchain. But basically, these plots will be trying to solve a problem, and you will be eventually rewarded for solving problems. And we'll get to that in a minute. But the number of plots that I'm going with is 1,010. And that comes from having 100 terabytes of hardware. And for some reason, it's slightly over that because each plot is 101.4 gigabytes. So then it equals to a little bit over like 100 terabytes. So actually, you might have to reduce that to make sure it fits on the actual SATA drives, so presuming you're going to use SATA drives or whatever. And the reason why I'm going with 100 terabytes is because it was pretty standard in April / May. Sorry, it's more May, because it was launched on May 4th, I believe. And yeah, it was booming then, and everyone wanted to go with 100 terabytes, to make, at the time, it would have netted you some dough. I think about $10 a day. But as we'll see in a second, it's not quite like that. And so, yeah, like if you look at the network space, it's just huge. So the fact that you only 0.0003% of the network space means it takes you 2 months to get a chunk of Chia. It's not a lot, It's like you're not going to get a huge amount. But however, if you mine in a pool, that will increase your earnings, obviously, and it'll guarantee you a piece of the pie. Unfortunately, in April, May, I should stop saying April. I don't know why I'm saying April, but in around May and June, July, I believe pool mining wasn't a feature yet. So you couldn't mine as part of a pool. You had to solo mine, and you needed a huge farm. So 100 terabytes was the go-to figure, and today it's still like, 100 terabytes is not too big. It's not too small, because you could go 1 petabyte, you could go 100 petabyte. There's probably very few people who can afford 100 petabyte. But so anyways, most of us who are like serious about investing can afford 100 terabytes. If you're not serious, you could go like 10 terabytes, but then again, like your earnings will decrease. So now if we go down to estimated earnings, by the way, I need to change the exchange rate because I was doing two different calculations. I'll get back to why I did that figure before. But yeah, so if you look at how much you're going to be earning at the current price, the current price is around $94. It's been pretty constant the last month, around $90. Even a couple, it's been what, 24 hours, 2 days since the recent Bitcoin crash, and it hasn't really been crashing that much. So it seems a little bit independent of Bitcoin to some extent. So that's the one positive takeaway from its current gradual decline. So we can see that over here. By the way, we can just take a look at the price for a second, because this is the entire timeline of Chia. It hasn't been on the market for long, but it's been pretty consistently, just gradually ever so declining just a bit over the last few 6 months or so, since July. Right. Yeah, so, and then that brings us to our costs. And so there would be two scenarios where you're going to have like two completely different costs with Chia. So let's go to my Excel over here, and I've created two scenarios for you, and I've done some calculations. I'm pretty sure, take them with a pinch of salt. Like, they might be a little bit off, but for instance, when I'm talking about terabytes, I'm pretty sure like $15 per terabyte is pretty average. Like, because, right, if you buy used hard drives, you might get ones that have been used like for quite a long time, and they might not be that healthy. So that the hard drive might not be that healthy, and it won't last you the amount of time you want to break even. So you want to kind of aim for new ones. If you can't go for, then you can go for used ones, and then you can probably get them like you might even get them for $10 somewhere. And then if you're like me, who lives in the UK, then it's going to be £15, which is like, if I convert that in my head, that's $20. So you're going to be paying a bit more if you're in Europe, somewhere in Europe. So that's actually not a bad deal, $15. So then if you multiply it by the desired amount, so you can multiply it by, 150, and then that will change your total costs. But so you'd be spending about 1,500, give or take, maybe 100 or two for your total storage space, if you're going with 100 terabytes. If you go for more than that, it's going to be more than that. But and then, so the thing is with Chia mining, the reason why I didn't jump on it is because I realized that not only, right, it's not just hard drives that you need to invest in. You need to invest in a very powerful CPU, which comes with an asterisk, because that's why there's a scenario 2, and we'll get to that in just a minute or two. But a really good CPU, a really, really powerful, perhaps one of the most powerful on the market, is Threadripper 29. Wow, it's hard to say. 2990WX. I probably butchered that, and you guys probably know the right way to say the brand, but it's from AMD. It's the 32 core, and it's got 64 threads. And let's say you get like a decent amount of RAM as well, and that's another thing you need to make your Chia rig have is a decent amount of RAM. And so I like when I was first introduced to this project, I had no idea that you had to invest so much, and so you have to, you're probably going to be investing $2,000 in the RAM and CPU and the motherboard, because this is also, I'm throwing in a motherboard in there. I think you can get all of these for 2,000 and a little bit more again, or a little bit less. And then not only that, so I thought, okay, maybe we just leave it at that. But then you also need a GPU to offload some of the process, and you don't want a weak one as well. So I'd say maybe don't invest in a RTX 3080 or whatever, as you would for Ethereum mining. So I'd say go for the RX 5700 XT. Let's say the whole project is scrapped. You still have like a lot of hard drive space that can be maybe you could sell it off later, or the CPU, RAM. So you like, let's say Chia completely fails, at least you can sell all the stuff, or you can convert the rig into an Ethereum rig, and you might have some success with that. So that's a good fail-safe option if you get something that's what I thought. It's not too expensive, and I believe in the US market, I might be wrong on that because I'm only familiar with UK markets, and I only like I participate in Discord servers, and I overhear like some people talking about US prices. So I don't know, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but you can get an RX 5700 XT for $500. Is that true? And then for so you might get some risers, fans, like paste, CPU cooler, and power supply. You can all get that for $100 or less. That's what I firmly believe, anyways. So that brings a whopping total to $4,100. And just for reference, you could build a Ethereum mining rig that is really successful for less than that. You could build it for 3,000 or less, like maybe with 1660 supers or TIs or RX 5500s, stuff like that. That's literally how I built my rigs, more or less. I mean, I did mix and match a bit, but so, and then the other option is that you buy plots that have been like pre-plotted, and you buy them from a third party. So like, let's go to this website, and this is one of the particular websites where you can get it from. And so obviously the more plots you get, the better. And so you'd get about, so if you get 1,000, it would be 550. So, and then, but yeah, and then even then, and this is another criticism of the project, even though, I love hard drive mining, I love the idea. So Chia it's good that it pioneered. It was one of the first projects to pioneer the idea of proof in space and time. But you have to download these plots, and you have to have a very good internet connection to to download them, because if you have this, and this is a pretty good internet connection, 200 megabytes per second, you can download up to 40 plots a day. So that it will still take you 25 days to plot it. Alternatively, there might be a competitor where they like send you a hard drive, where they do it over cloud, and then they send it. Well, this is actually. This is a cloud as well, but maybe they could, I don't know if there are faster ways to get it, but it's not a cheat sheet. You'll just like, so as I explained in scenario 2, you could totally reduce the cost by about like 1,500, 1,700, something like that, by getting crappy motherboard, crappy CPU, and crappy RAM. And then you can literally build a computer for $300. You will not be able to plot like that many Chia plot at a fast enough rate, and so you'll spend like what, I don't know, if a month or two just plotting, and you still won't have all your plots up, and you'll still be earning an income, but you won't be earning like that much Chia. Like the full calculated amount that we just did before. And you can also save on the graphics card, so you can get something that's like half decent, maybe with only 6 gigabytes of RAM, and this is a really By the way, this is like one of the best GPUs you can get for Ethereum mining, like for because it also doesn't affect your electricity bill that much. For NVIDIA, this is really good, and it's definitely cheaper, so it's definitely doable. And so as we took the calculation before, this brings it to $2,755, right? So now we can start calculating how long it will take to break even. So all you have to do for that is take what your projected daily revenue is, and then divide like the total cost by total daily income, revenue, whatever, and that gives you 1,620 days, which we have to actually do some math in our heads now. I could have converted that into years or months, but it's about 4 years, so it'll take you 4 years to get your money back. So although like it's a really good fail-safe option, you could sell these things off, and it's definitely some future proofing, because this is really good, recently released CPU that's just still kicking ass, and a pretty decent GPU at that as well. You can definitely play most games on that. So it's a great fail-safe option, but it'll take you way too long to break even. So as with this, assuming you find a way to we skip the delay in you downloading your plots or you getting your plots up and running, assuming you forego that delay, because actually it's an extra, like you have to add an extra 30, I don't know, 20 days to get all the plots up and running according to this website. But if you find a faster way, let me know, and that could be just interesting knowledge, because you can pay for pre-made plots. So far, after reviewing this project, it's not looking good. And if we go, by the way, this is the guy who inspired me to look into Chia, and I bet he was an inspiration to like a lot of Chia miners. But so back in the day, he was doing like almost exclusively like Chia videos. He spent I want to say $20,000, something like that, on hardware. But now, like if you look, he's diversifying his content because, Chia is not doing so well, and I'm not saying that maybe it's not going well for him, but I mean his channel is doing well, and I've subscribed to him, but the fact that he's now even talking about NFTs, that's a big red flag for me, because when a mining YouTube channel starts talking about NFTs, that shows that they've run out of like real valid things to talk about in the project. Because NFTs, I'm not going to start a debate here. I can do like a 1 hour rant on why NFTs are like, they're not essentially a scam, but some like 80% of the time the influencers or celebrities that promote them in a scammy way. They say you'll earn a lot of money, where there's no like, it's completely arbitrary, the value that NFTs bring to the table. So you can't even like put value and NFT in the same sentence, because it's just an insult to value, really, because NFTs are like a digital Mona Lisa, but the thing is, like, most of them are just shit. They're just literally like cartoons, and yeah, some of them can be sold for $100,000, but never promote NFTs if you're a miner. That's just my view on it, and so if you're doing that, then it's not a good sign. But I do wish the best for him. I hope Chia goes back up, and that's what I want to talk about next. But wait, what if the price goes back to April or May? And I don't know why I keep saying April, because the project wasn't even live in April. But wait, what if the price goes back to 2021 levels? Okay, so if it does, then daily revenue, you bring your daily revenue down to, you bring it up to $10.75. As you can calculate, I'll show you how I got that figure. Basically, you're gonna, right, because this was a boom. You can't just like take the top part. Like you want to look for an average there. I'd say like I picked 400 because this was sort of before we knew that it was starting to decline. So the 400 level was sort of where it was still a viable option, and then it started to really start declining. And around here, the like I haven't heard many people jump on Chia after this point, like somewhere around here. So I picked 400. You can pick a higher level if you're more bullish on the project, and then you can do your calculations. And it's just maybe a way to motivate you. It's not like something you should take seriously, but let's calculate it anyways, right? So if the so yeah, it brings it to $10.75. So that proves my calculation wasn't bullshit. Um, and so for scenario one, that brings it down to just over a year, so 381 days. And then for scenario two, it's well under a year, so that's just over 8 months, 256 days, just over 8 months. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you're really bullish on the project, really bullish, it's still a little bit of a gamble. Um, but you know there is hope, because one thing I will say, this is one positive I'll give for Chia. The one positive for Chia is that most projects start out this way. They start out very bullish, and then they kind of die down for a bit. And then there's usually a resurgence after that, but there's nothing to guarantee it to go back up. It's just like you have to think of all the value this particular project brings to the table. And honestly, because of what I learned the past couple of days about SC Prime and its competitors, and I will do a review on SC Prime next, Chia doesn't bring much value to the table. It's just a novelty, you know. Can you think of a service that Chia is tied to? I mean, like, can you think of something that's irreplaceable that it's tied to, that means it won't die down or be replaced by anything else anytime soon? If not, maybe reconsider. But if again, like, if you're a millionaire, you want to buy some hardware and you just want to have some fun, you want to do this as a hobby, knock yourself out. There's one more kind of good thing about Chia, is that you can mine different forks. You can diversify your investment. And so there's this website called Chia Forks Calculator. It's another one of these rough calculators that can give you an estimate. Chives seems to be the better option because it's giving out a block reward of 200. It calculates your income at $5 a day with the same amount we looked at before, 1,000 plots, approximately 100 terabytes, you know, give or take a few. So apparently it's doing okay. And there are plenty of others. If you see some value in any of them, you can do it and use more or less the same equipment. So there is kind of hope for you guys who maybe you're disillusioned with Chia. You want something else to look at. That is a good option for you, in my opinion. So that pretty much brings this video to a close. What can I say? I will next do a review on SC Prime. And actually, I'm in the middle of a little special something, building a really cheap mining rig. And you might be asking, why would I do that? Why would I bother doing that? But I'm doing it for the educational experience. I want to teach maybe some new miners why you shouldn't do that. Here's on eBay, like how I got my calculation. All right, so 1,300. It's a very expensive CPU. Like the top CPUs with all those cores and threads, you're gonna be paying well over $1,000. Then you want a compatible motherboard for that, and then you're looking at another $400, something like that. And then, right, you need RAM. So that whole combo just really keeps me away from Chia. It's not great, man. Hey, but let me know in the comments down below what you think of Chia, if I got anything wrong. I'm open to learning, but for those of you who thought about investing in Chia in 2022, I don't know, I'd like maybe look at its competitors. That's what I think we should all do. Like, regardless if you're bullish on Chia or not, you should definitely look at its competitors. They are Filecoin and SC Prime. And they both have their pros and cons, but I'll explain in another video why I am really liking SC Prime.
Ta-ta for now!